Welcome to another In the Mood to Scrap video, presented by Two Peas in a Bucket. My name is Janna Werner and today we're going to catch the good dreams. I created a mood board with images of dream catchers that I found on Pinterest. I really love dream catchers. They are beautiful to look at, and I really love the idea of a dream catcher, that it's supposed to catch the bad dreams and just let the positive things come through. When creating the mood board, I focused on images that were very light, and in the end I had this color scheme: light blue, vanilla and gray. When I first had this idea of creating a mood board with dream catchers, I thought that I would include a few feathers and the color scheme maybe. And just when I started to create the mood board, I thought, okay, why not adding an entire dream catcher to the layout? Now let me show you the scrapbooking page that I created, which is based on this mood board. I did not use real feathers, but mistable canvas stickers in feather shape by Studio Calico. Instead of using pearls, I have these circle stickers. These are from Amy Tangerine. I also wanted to incorporate the light reflections that you can see on one of the pictures on the mood board, and I used Studio Calico stickers for that. I'm going to show you that later, because this time I'm going to show you the supplies while I am crafting. So let's start with creating the dream catcher. I have a piece of cardboard. Actually, this was grunge board, and I used my Sizzix dies to cut the circle. I use twine and wrap it around this cardboard circle. This takes really quite a lot of time, and this can be a bit frustrating sometimes, but I made it and I was really happy when it was over, but it's totally worth it. It looks awesome. In the next step, you take very thin twine, or you could use any other twine as well. This is just, I wanted it to look very fragile, so I'm using thin twine. And you wrap it around on any side. And you make a knot, but only the first time. The knot should be inside of the dream catcher. And then you start adhering the twine on different spots, but you don't knot, you just do it like this. You put the twine around a new spot, wrap it around, and then go to the next. I did this absolutely freestyle, and I'm pretty sure there are more beautiful patterns than the one that I created. But as I'm putting this behind the photo, I don't take so much interest in creating the most beautiful pattern right now. But if you really want to create a really nice pattern, I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of instructions on the internet. You just might want to look some up. And this is the first round. And then you go with the twine around the thread that you just adhered. And this can be a bit tricky sometimes. Just be patient. And this is what I mean. I do this absolutely freestyle. I also wrap the twine around the outer circle again, because I had a few holes and I did not want to have big holes in this pattern. And this is what my pattern looked like in the end. I was thinking about placing the photo directly on top, but then I wouldn't see the pattern, and then I decided to move it slightly to the bottom right, so you can still see a bit of the pattern. I have this blue Amy Tangerine pattern paper, and I'm going to cut off the manufacturer strip. And I'm using a white cardstock. It's a structured cardstock. I just cut a bit off on two edges to make it a bit tinier than the pattern paper, so you can still see the pattern paper when you put the cardstock on top. Then I used just a plain stitch on my sewing machine for the edges, and I'm bending the edges to add more dimension, and I'm doing that right away. I don't know, this is just how I do it. You could do it in the end, of course. I found a piece of tulle that I want to attach behind the dream catcher, and it's a white one with white dots, so it won't stand out too much. As usual, I'm not gluing down anything right now, but I keep on adding the elements that I want to use on this page, like the feathers. These are canvas feathers by Studio Calico, and you can mist them with spray. For example, you could also use acrylic paint on them or watercolor. And I put them on the cardstock, but just very slightly, because if you have stickers and you add them to cardstock and you press very hard, then it might damage the paper when you try to tear them off again. Some of the DreamCatchers in the mood board had pearls on them, and I thought it would be a nice idea to use stickers instead. And I also have a badge, which I'm not going to use in the end, but this is an alternative. You can use stickers like these transparent stickers, which are already on the page. They're from Amy Tangerine. And this is a badge by October Afternoon from the Travel Girl collection. It just didn't really fit the theme because it had fun written on it. I mean, it's still fun because this is a layout about traveling, but also about losing the fear of flying with an aeroplane. So fun was not really the first thing that came to my mind. So I will remove that later. I keep on placing the elements, and you see I'm very careful when I put the stickers onto another spot. I also added a doily in the background of the DreamCatcher because on one of the photos there was a lace pattern, and I really liked that. You can see it here, it's on the top right, the photo. And I thought it looks a bit boring like this, so I wanted to apply spray onto the page. And I already sprayed some of the feathers in gray and yellow with a spray by Heidi Swap, the Color Shine sprays. And this is a blue spray by Studio Calico. I spray it onto foil, and then I place it on top of the cardstock. And the funny thing is that when I pressed it onto the cardstock, you see it's like the world map. I mean, okay, with a bit of imagination, but when I put the DreamCatcher on it, it is a bit like the world map in the background. And I think this is so funny because it was not my intention to have this pattern, but it absolutely fits the theme. So this was really, really great. I'm also adding a few splatters to add more movement and a few highlights. I adhered the top part with hot glue. Now I'm going to add twine. These are the, I don't know how that is called in English, but these things that just hang down on the DreamCatcher. So I'm using craft twine for that. And I place the stickers on top. I'm going to have 2 twines. And I was thinking about adding a third one in the middle, because usually you add 3 elements because it looks much more interesting. But if I had added a third one, it would just be too much. So I came up with the idea to add journaling in between, but you will see that at a later point. I'm too fast. You see that I'm attaching the twine only with a bit of glue. And as I put the sticker on the twine, it's really, it will stay in place where it is. And then I'm only using small dots of glue on the rest of the twine. And the same with the second twine. I adhere it beneath the photo, put a sticker on top, and then I'm also adding a 3-dimensional foam dot behind the photo just to make sure it stays in place. I used hot glue to glue it down onto the DreamCatcher, and then a few more dots with the glue and placing the twine. And I'm taking care to create those waves and curves with the twine, because this looks a bit more as if it really was floating in the wind, and it adds movement to the page and lets it appear lighter and more interesting. Then I add the feathers and cut off the twine. I also want to add the light reflections that you can see on the bottom right photo. And I had these Studio Calico stickers. These are just perfect. They come in different sizes and with pattern and without pattern, so I chose the ones without pattern. I'm going to add a title, a very short one, which is Go, because this is just, don't think girl, just go, and do not always think about all the bad things that can happen when traveling. And you see now that I have the handwritten journaling, mini journaling on the right side, the left side, and in the middle. And if you imagine now there had been a third twine in the middle of the two other ones, that would just be so massive and crowded. So instead, I'm using my pencil to draw very thin lines which look a bit like twine, and then the journaling is not just hovering somewhere on the layout but is attached to this DreamCatcher. So here's the mood board one more time. I created my very own DreamCatcher, and it's really easy to create a DreamCatcher. You just need a bit of patience and time doing that. But I mean, in the end, I really incorporated a lot of the elements that you can find and see on the mood board. And I'm very happy with the layout, the way it turned out, and the theme. And yeah, I mean, the DreamCatcher is meant to change a person's dream and to keep the bad dreams away. And for me, it's more like keeping the bad thoughts away, because, as I mentioned before, I'm afraid of flying, and I have so many scenarios in my mind what could happen when I get on a plane. So I really hope this DreamCatcher helps me get rid of that. And my challenge for you this week is to incorporate DreamCatcher into your layout or the color scheme of this mood board. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing your creations. Have a very nice day and see you soon. Bye bye.